And now, live from Chicago, it's the Dan Lupinski Show. Take it away, Dan.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? This is Dan Lupinski, host of the Dan Lupinski radio program. I'm grateful you could join me this afternoon. We're broadcasting live from the south side of Chicago from a bungalow called the Karaoke Zone. That's right. And if you're interested in producing your own internet radio podcast show, talk to my buddy Rich Munich. Say hi, Rich.
Hi, how you doing?
Just go to the karaokezone.com and Rich will tell you how to do that. So
Tell you all about it.
that's right. So I'd like to make an announcement. Profusion is playing at the House of Blues Sunday, October 4th. Doors open at 5 o'clock. No, the show begins at 5. Doors open at 4:30, and tickets are $10. So be there or be square. I'm going. So it should be a good time. So how are you guys out there, man? Weather's beautiful. Yeah, you can't complain it. Can't complain about this weather, man. Enjoy it before we go back in the winter again. So today, my guest is actor Patrick Barnitt. Patrick, are you there?
Hey, Dan. Hey, Rich. How are you guys? Great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Very good. Yeah, it's finally nice to
Yeah,
talk to you. So
nice to finally connect. And I'm a huge fan of Chicago. My brother, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and my brother lived in one of the suburbs of Chicago for about the past 10 years. So
uh-huh.
I made many a visit out there and visited the city. And actually, you guys can't see it right now, but right now I'm actually wearing a Bulls shirt.
You're doing what?
I'm wearing a Bulls shirt as we
A
speak.
bull shirt.
Chicago
A
Bulls.
bull shirt. Yeah, go Bulls.
Exactly. So.
So can't say much. Can't say too much about the Bears.
Right,
So
Bears are having a bit of a rough start, huh?
yeah.
Didn't Jay Cutler get injured or something like that?
Yeah, he did, and they put Clausen in, Jimmy Clausen.
Ah,
So
right. I think I read that. Yeah, actually, I'm from New Jersey originally, and I'm a Giants fan, so we're not too happy either these days. After the end of the second week in the NFL, it's been a
no,
rough start for us as well.
no.
So
Yeah, Bears are known as the mistake by the lake.
that's
hate
hilarious.
hate
You
to
know,
say it.
I actually visited my first. I had my 2 years ago. I had my first visit to Soldier Field. I actually went out there to see the Giants played the Bears, and it was amazing to be at Soldier Field. And the Bears won, but it was still great to be there.
Yeah. Nothing like football in Chicago.
Nothing like football in Chicago. And I'll tell you what, the Bears fans were fantastic. And
Yeah.
we got there about 2 hours early, did some tailgating, and we had a blast. So always love coming to Chicago. Actually, Chicago, the band, is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Oh yeah, I've heard. I heard you did a little singing. Or you did.
Yeah. In addition to being an actor, I'm also a singer. I sing jazz and standards and things like that. And I did an album some years back, and I actually covered one of their songs. I've been seeing Chicago in concert since the early '80s, and I've probably seen them a total of 25 times. So
Wow.
I'm kind of like the equivalent of a Deadhead, except with Chicago.
Yeah,
Except I haven't seen them like 300 times, like some Deadheads.
yeah we heard your performance of anybody know what time it is. we heard that.
Okay, you heard that?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
that was
Okay,
pretty.
cool.
That was pretty good. It was really dead on. You know, it was great. You know.
Thank you. Yeah, well, Robert Lamb is, I'm a huge fan, and Robert Lamb is one of my favorite singers of all time, one of my favorite writers. Everything the band does. I've had the good fortune of seeing them and actually meeting some of the guys over the years. So it's always a real thrill for me to see them. But it's a lot of amazing stuff happening in Chicago. But I'm happy to be on with you guys.
Now
So.
you played a jazz singer as a crooner in the L.A. musical Shag with a Twist.
Yeah, I did. It was a very going back about 10 years ago. A friend of mine wrote the music, and Shag. His real name is Josh Yeagle, and he's a Southern California artist. He's from Orange, California, which is down in Orange County. And he's a very famous sort of pop artist, and he depicts a lot of sort of mod, sort of retro scenes. You know, guys with martinis and that whole kind of mod scene. Really brilliant artist. And a friend of mine was a composer, and I was very blessed. I mean, he pretty much wrote the music, and as he was writing the music, he kind of thought of me, and he called me up. He said, "Hey, man, I think I've got a gig for you." So it was a real thrill to do that play. We had a really great run here in Los Angeles, and we sort of nominated for some awards, and eventually the music was phenomenal. It was a kind of a combination of like sort of big band surf rock and sort of almost like 60s psychedelic rock and roll, and it was like a dance musical. So the costumes were very colorful, and it's kind of funny in play. I mean, I have shaved. I don't really have much hair. In fact, I have no hair. I've shaved head, as you guys have detected, I'm sure. But in the play, I had we all got to wear these. We wore these sort of foam wigs. So I kind of looked like a cartoon character with a full head of hair. So that was a real laugh.
Yeah.
But in any event, it was a lot of fun. We had a blast, and I met some great really great and talented people, some of which are, we're still friends, and it was fantastic. They actually took the play on to Vegas. They took the play on to Vegas, the show on to Vegas. I didn't go, but they had some mess out there. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay. Now, Patrick, where are you mostly from?
I'm actually from New Jersey. I'm from the Garden State.
Okay.
I was born right across the Hudson from Manhattan, and my parents originally from New Jersey, Hudson County, Jersey City, New Jersey is where I was born, and I was raised in the suburbs. I was raised out by not far from Newark Airport, in a suburb in northern New Jersey called Maplewood, and it's pretty much my family's back east, with the exception of one brother my brother who lived in Chicago just moved to Miami, so everybody's pretty much back east. But I get back a lot, like going back to New Jersey and going to Manhattan and visiting friends and family and all that. So,
what made you get into entertaining?
That's a great question. I was always involved in music. I was always involved in music from a young age. I was in bands, and I grew up around a lot of really, really gifted musicians, and I was just lucky that way. And a lot of my friends are really, really fine musicians at a young age, and I was always, always really just in love with the movies and music and rock and roll, and a couple of older brothers who were really into rock and the classic rock of the 70s, 60s, and 70s.
Oh, that's great stuff.
Yeah, everything from
everything
from Led Zeppelin to the Who to Chicago to the Beach Boys to Foreigner, you name it. And
Foreigner, yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of sort of like triggered my interest in music. Kind of growing up listening to all that great stuff, and I also played saxophone as a kid. I was in bands and kind of doing that stuff and listening to all that great music on the radio. And as far as acting goes, and I always loved movies. I always had a great kind of passion for movies, and I had an uncle, actually a few different uncles that sort of were instrumental in kind of mentoring me and kind of instrumental in sort of leading me into this business in different ways. But one uncle of mine was an actor. He was an attorney in New York City, but he was also an actor.
Uh-huh.
And later in life, he did some big movies. He was in JFK, Oliver Stone's JFK, and he was also in Nixon. So he had some success as an actor, and he was kind of a big mentor to me. He lived in Manhattan. I also had another uncle who, in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, moved his family out to LA, and he was kind of a bigwig in the studio system. He ended up being the chief financial officer of Columbia Pictures.
Really?
And so he was the member of my dad's best friend, one of my dad's best friends. And we came out here to kind of sort of, he was the uncle living on the West Coast because we were East Coast folks. And so I remember hearing stories when he come back, and so years later when I moved out here, he sort of kind of took me under his wing and kind of became my Hollywood godfather.
Okay.
So to speak. And so I mean, so he certainly had a hand in that. And, that's just kind of a little background on how I got into business. But I've always had a passion for it. I've been in LA for over 20 years, and I love living out here. I mean, I love the East Coast is in my blood. Always be where I'm from. Always be a Jersey guy living in Los Angeles. I still can't remember. I mean, as long as I've been here, I'll root for the Lakers. Actually, I'm a big Clippers fan. I'll root for the Clippers. I'll root for the Lakers. But the Knicks will always be in my blood.
Yeah.
And and I have to say, my brother living in Chicago for the last decade or so. I mean, I've come to really appreciate the Chicago teams in a different way. So
Yeah. The Chicago has a passion for its teams.
Oh yeah, and that's something I could totally, the time that's been there, I totally can. I could totally relate to being from the East Coast, and the same kind of passion, that very similar kind of fandom and passion that we have on the East Coast for our team. So
Sure.
Can totally relate.
So how did you get involved in taking roles on Star Trek? Now you did Star Trek Voyager. What was it like being a Borg?
Oh man, it was wow. Talk about a mind trip. It was I don't know. I mean, it was very. I guess the only word that I can use to describe that experience is it was pretty surreal.
Yeah.
It was pretty. To be. I mean, I grew up. As a young kid in the '70s. Watching the original series.
Yeah, I did too.
And yeah, as we did. And that's what you did. Back then, there weren't really. Didn't have the cable like we have today.
Yeah.
So Star Trek was one of those shows that was always on loop. And so I grew up watching that and was kind of steeped in that. And then, when I came to LA, I mean, I don't think I ever would have imagined that I'd end up working in Star Trek. So when it happened, I thought, this is just insane. I couldn't believe it. So, but yeah, I moved out here, and I originally started working on Deep Space Nine. It was the first gig I had. It was kind of like I was kind of like a walk-on. Sort of a regular sort of background Bajoran, and
Okay, yeah.
it was a fun. It was in the early mid '90s, like I think it was '95, right around there. But
Yeah.
to do that, and then there was a call for the movie for First Contact. So I went up on the call, and there was like over, I don't know, at least 100 guys, if not more. And they had several auditions, probably 4 auditions over a few months, and I ended up getting the gig. I was very, very, very blessed, and I'm sure it was a combination of luck and a combination of they were looking for guys. They were looking for guys with a very specific type of look.
Yeah.
And I think that might have had something to do with it, but like I said, I was very lucky and blessed, and that was just the time of my life working on that film. I worked on it for 5 weeks, and I ended up getting some cool screen time and working with Patrick Stewart and the whole cast of Next Generation. So it was really really kind of blew my mind, so to speak. And it was a very, very exciting time, to be out here and working. So yeah, and then from that experience, I went on Voyager, and I did maybe total of different. I had total of different, maybe 7 or 8 episodes in total.
Okay.
And that was tremendous. And it was a bit of it was the same kind of experience physically, because you're in that suit. The makeup, makeup was at least 3 hours in the morning, and the tubes and the glue, and it was pretty. Physically, it was very challenging, but it was just a phenomenal experience all around. So that was I did that for on and off for about 2 years, and then since then I've done a lot of other things. So it's but it's nice. I just got back for a convention. I do Star Trek conventions now.
Yeah.
Well, not just Star Trek. I do Star Trek / horror conventions, kind of fan conventions. I was just in Kansas. I was just in Topeka last weekend at really tremendous convention called Top Con.
Okay.
And I met some, a lot of great people, and I was out there with my buddy Mike Mundy who played one of the walkers in The Walking Dead, and then a great horror actress named Debbie Rochon, who just directed a tremendous, a really fantastic horror film called Model Hunger, which I saw. And I just met a lot of great people. I mean, a lot of great people. I was also hanging out with one of the winners of Face Off, the sci-fi show, called Nicole Shillelagh. She was there.
Okay.
And it was just a dynamite experience. So Star Trek is kind of I get to kind of relive all those moments, all my the great memories that I have when I go to these conventions and meet the fans, and I just had a great time. So.
Yeah, I've been to a few of those shows myself. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they really are. You get to meet great people, and it's a lot of fun. People, the whole cosplay kind of a movement with the costumes, and it's it actually was pretty interesting. I was on a couple different panels. This weekend. First one was a zombie panel where we talked about The Walking Dead, because I did a small bit on one of the webisodes called Cold Storage. One of the official Walking Dead webisodes called the Cold Storage. I was one of the walkers, and that was fun. I just did a day on it. But I was on the zombie panel, and I was also on a Star Trek, Star Wars debate panel. So it was Star Trek versus Star Wars. And I'll tell you what, I didn't say a whole lot because I know a bit about Star Trek, but I compared to some of the experts on the movies and the episodes and the characters and the mythology. I mean, my head was spinning, so I just sat there. I shared a few anecdotes, and I let these guys go at it. I mean, I just was amazed at the knowledge and the passion for these franchises. It was pretty pretty intense. So.
Me myself, I'm one of those people. I think it was easier getting into Star Trek than it was Star Wars, because you just related, because like you said, I grew up watching Star Trek when I was a kid. Maybe I really didn't pay too much attention to it, but I think when the Next Generation came out, that's when I really got into it, and I started going to the shows, and I was dressing up in my Starfleet shirt and everything else, and it was just a lot of fun, So.
Yeah. I think in some ways, I mean, there's nothing like the original series, but as you just said, I mean, Next Generation made it really. I mean, it kind of brought back the whole franchise, and it modernized it a bit for all of us. I think, and a lot of people that had never seen it before. It was kind of that's really their first experience with Star Trek was the Next Gen. But we knew the original series, but it was a phenomenal series, Next Gen. I mean, I remember I was in college. I was in college when it started, and it was just a cool show,
And what was cool about it, because in one way or another, they all tried to connect it with the original series in one way or another,
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. I mean, it was a really excellent kind of reboot, and and I think from there on in, I mean, Deep Space Nine and Voyager, I think they were really strong series, and for different reasons, and it was kind of interesting to be at the convention this weekend to talk to the real fans about which was their favorite Star Trek series, and so you have your Deep Space Niners and people that love Voyager, and then later on there was Enterprise, but which I don't really know too much about, but
I never really watched Enterprise, but Rich was telling me what the ending was about. Like, now I got to watch it. I'm not gonna say what the ending was about, because that's something you have to watch. But I was really surprised with the ending.
Oh, Enterprise, the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, I could say maybe I caught like one episode, but in any event, I know a few people that worked on that show, but so.
So what other kind of productions have you done?
Oh boy, I mean, just to give you kind of a snapshot, I did a couple of years ago. I did a very cool little thriller kind of an indie thriller called Coffin.
Okay.
I starred in that, co-starred in that along with Kevin Sorbo, Hercules,
Yeah.
and the great Bruce Davison, who's the older sort of character actor who was just Senator Kelly in X-Men. He was in Runaway Jury. He's been in probably over 100 films and TV shows. Academy Award nominee, Golden Globe winner. So that was a real treat. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor. Also, Johnny Alonso, a good buddy of mine, really wonderful actor and good friend. He played the maniac in that. And I worked with a couple of filmmakers. The filmmakers were some friends of mine. Kip Tribble and Derek Wingo. Known these guys a long time, and they produced it and starred in it, and Kip wrote it and directed it. They co-directed it. So that was a phenomenal experience. That movie came out back about 2012. I think it was 2012. On Netflix, Redbox, Amazon Streaming, either works. So it's available overseas too. It got released in several territories in Europe and Asia and the Middle East. So we had a really nice we had a really nice sort of wide release with that. And that's been out and about, and we had some nice reviews and some mixed reviews. But I always tell people there really is no such thing as a bad review as long as they're writing about you. That's what I say.
Right.
But anyway, no, it was well received, and it gets played. It's kind of cool. They play it like every 6 months or a year on the Horror Channel over in the UK. So, but that was a lot of fun. So I'm actually really lucky because in about 3 weeks' time, I'm going to be shooting their new film. Kip and Derek have produced. They're directing a new film called Chronology.
Okay.
And that's coming up in about 2-3 weeks' time. I'll be flying out to do that, and I'm really excited about it. I'm actually going to be working with Kip and Derek again, which is phenomenal. I've actually done 3 films with these guys now. I met Derek on Star Trek. This all starts with Star Trek.
Yeah.
We met, like almost 20 years ago, and met on Star Trek, and he was an effects artist on that, and then we worked together, and he directed this film called The Waiters, and so this is our 3rd film together, and then we're shooting this, and it's a really interesting kind of cool story, for lack of a better word. It's sort of a supernatural psychological thriller.
Okay.
That combines a lot of different elements. One of which is reincarnation. It's a bit of historical fiction, and really great cast. Very, very honored to be among some of these names. Billy Baldwin's going to be in it, and Billy Baldwin, Danny Trejo, the great Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Chete, right? And he's one of my favorites. So I'm actually going to be working with him. I'll be actually in all of the scenes with him. And I'll be kind of his sidekick in this movie, and which is going to be awesome. And another actor from Dynasty, actor by the name of John James, he's going to be in it as well.
Okay.
And a lot of other just great people, Moshe McFerrin, Elise Nixon, just to name a few. So we're really excited about it. So I'm shooting that in about 2-3 weeks. Flying out to do that, and I've been singing a lot. I've got. I was very lucky to be a part of a very cool short film at the festival circuit right now, and actually it's playing this Friday.
Okay.
It's called Axiom, and it was directed by a wonderful young filmmaker named Ashley Eberbach from Detroit. She's tremendous, and I played a bad guy in that. I seem to be playing a lot of bad guys these days, but it was a lot of fun, and it's all about robot Armageddon, robots taking over the world. So we had a nice premiere here a few months ago, and we're screening again this Friday in LA here at the Action on Film Festival. We're up for an award, up for Best Ensemble Cast Award, and just busy with a lot of music and some conventions and It actually, I wanted to mention this as well. I worked on the film Seven.
Okay.
Back, right around Star Trek time, I was, I'm sure the classic David Fincher film, his first kind of, well, the second film after Aliens 3, but the classic film with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. I was very lucky to be a part of that. I was Kevin Spacey's double for the last scene in the desert. So it was cool. Went to the desert, and they hired doubles, and we got to do the scene, and I it was very. I got the chance to work with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, and so it was a while ago, but it was quite an experience for a young actor in LA to be working on such a film, and all these years later, a friend of mine just posted some pictures from the experience. Actually, it's 20 years ago, so it's kind of the 20-year anniversary. So kind of my friend of mine who was a double in that for Brad Pitt, Richie Varga, posted some photos on Facebook this weekend, and some of which I'd never seen. So it was kind of a great brought back a lot of memories. But that was a tremendous experience to be working on that film with David Fincher. So
sounds pretty good. It really does.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
So, Patrick, you want to give people listening links where they could look you up?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys can find me on Facebook, under my name, Patrick Barnitt. That's with an I-B-A-R-N-I-T-T. And also you can also find me on Twitter under the very same name. There's no there's no cryptic names that I go by. Everyone, even though I know a lot of people that still call me a Borg and stuff. But I'm also on Twitter as Patrick Barnitt. And you can find me on Instagram. Also on Instagram as P Barnett. Okay. Just lowercase P Barnett. But yeah, you guys, also my website's patrickbarnett.com, and feel free to reach out. I put updates on Twitter and Facebook about what I'm doing, where I'm gigging, musical projects, and anything that I've got going on. So we'd love to connect.
That's cool. Patrick, do you have any closing comments for the people listening?
Not really. I mean, all I could say is, listen, it was a pleasure to finally connect. Connect with you through my great manager, Matt Chasen, who's, I know that you know Matt.
Yeah, good guy. Good guy. He's the best.
He's a great guy. He's a great manager, and also, I know you've interviewed some of my friends that are, on Matt's roster.
Yeah.
I guess you're interviewing. Who are you interviewing next?
Chanel Ryan.
Yeah, Chanel.
They'll be on Thursday.
Yeah, she's dynamite.
And I had Sherry Davis, and we had Brittany Ebert.
Brittany Ebert, who just did the Modern Family. She's and I know some of these folks. I haven't met all of them, but great people. And Matt set this up, and I'm glad we finally were able to connect. And I don't know when I'm going to be in Chicago next. My brother's living in Miami now. He's living in Vita Loca in Miami now.
Okay.
But in any event, we'll give you a shout out when we're in Chicago, and Chicago's got a special place in my heart. One of my buddies is John Serafini, retired Chicago police officer.
Okay.
He's a good buddy of mine. I want to give him a shout out, and all my friends in Chicago. But listen, Dan and Rich, thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and hope to talk to you guys soon.
Patrick, thank you. I was really looking forward to this, and you take care, and we'll keep in touch. God bless.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you. All right. That was Patrick Barnitt, singer, actor, writer. I hope you enjoyed that interview. Hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you're having a wonderful day out there. And that's all the time I have for my show for today. But remember this: no act of kindness, no matter how small, is never wasted. So you have a great Tuesday. Take care of yourself. Let at least one person know you love them. And you guys take care. And we'll see you on Thursday. And my guest will be actress Chanel Ryan. So be here or be square. Until then, we'll be talking to you. Thank you. God bless.